another day, the sun is shining. Got to know what's going on around you. Wake up, it's the time to motivate your mind. Come with me, let's make this moment brighter. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Come on and wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Hey.
Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise. I'm Anastasia Palacios.
Good morning, TGIF. I am Philip Simon.
And it is always a pleasure to be in your company. Of course, it's a Friday, Majority Rule Day. Today, our national holiday, and we get to celebrate what it means for us as a people to have achieved what I like to call, not necessarily to focus on the majority side of things, but to focus on the more democratic processes that have evolved in our political system over time.
Yeah, well, I mean, definitely what I know today is we are here working just for you on Majority Rule Day.
Certainly, certainly.
But, we're going to talk about it. We have Dr. Chris Curry on the show. We have Ruby and Darling on the show. And it's a very significant occurrence. And it wasn't just a local occurrence. Obviously, we are rolling with the global tide and the shifts that were happening worldwide. We talked about the civil rights movement, et cetera. So, it's something that, is significant and it should be recognized.
It definitely should be. It definitely should be. And I was taking a look at a cabinet photo that we had in the 1967 cabinet and really seeing how much those faces have transformed just to make sure that there are more opportunities for more people of diverse origin to be included in our cabinet system. And so certainly a long way we've come, and then we've got a long way to go. And so that's always a part of this conversation. Not only do we need to focus on the past, but look toward the future. But certainly taking a look back helps us to appreciate what we've achieved.
Absolutely, absolutely. I remember, and we talked about this at the New Year, we used to have this thing called Bahamas Vision 2020 back in the 80s. But of course, even before then, and of course it's 2020 now, but even before then, back in, the 50s and the 60s, there was this vision. And, and it started to materialize in the 70s, and maybe it got a little bit off track in the 80s and 90s, but it's still there. So how have we achieved the vision? Debatable.
Yeah, very, very debatable. And of course, I think a large part of that, and that's why this conversation with Dr. Chris Curry is so relevant, because we are never in isolation, right? We are islands, but not an island unto ourselves. And so a lot of what we experience has so much to do with what's happening around us in terms of other economies, in terms of other wars, in terms of other countries. And so, we don't exist in a vacuum, but it's going to be great to shed some light on that this morning. We've got a full show for you, so we hope that you'll wake up and stay with us. Phil and I are up for you, so we hope that you're up with us. But more to come. Also going to be talking with Basil Christie and friends at the Blood Bank. Of course, you can save so many lives by just donating blood. And Mr. Christie will talk to you some more about that this morning. January is also Cervical Cancer Awareness Month. So we've got Dr. Nina Graham with us this morning. She's back. We're going to be talking about that and how you can take some preventative measures to make sure that you try to avoid that as much as possible. So that's going to be a good conversation as well.
Definitely a good conversation. But of course, it's a very windy day today. I saw a person just walking, and this morning I'm like, you guys are the real MVPs
it must
out there.
have been some sort of like race, some sort of like walkathon.
Oh, that's what's happening.
I saw some people coming down our key, and I'm like,
these people are
no,
insane.
I know it's New Year's resolution, but there's no way. And then I saw Leslie Miller, who was the champion of races, and I said, it has to be the walkathon today.
But God is going to tell us all about that weather. I mean, it's beautiful. It's wonderful. It's windy, and I think it's going to be around for a while. So here's Coffee Burnside with our first look at weather.
Weather at Sunrise, brought to you by Bahamas First. First in insurance, today, tomorrow.
No, delicious. Thank you, Phil. Good morning, Bahamas. Your first look at weather at sunrise. Strong high pressure north of the islands, generating some very windy conditions across the islands and also creating some hazardous marine conditions. So we're asking you small craft operators to remain in port over the next 3 to 4 days, and you swimmers out of the water. Please, today, don't take those kids to the beach and put them in the water, because it'll be real hazardous sea conditions over the next few days. Any weather today, a mix of sun and clouds, very windy, and a slight chance of a few passing showers. High temperature 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Tonight, partly cloudy windy, and chilly. Low temperature going down to 65 degrees Fahrenheit. And some regional highs and lows across the Caribbean, Barbados, 1878. In Jamaica, 83 and 69. In Trinidad, 82 and 75. And the Turks and Caicos Islands, 80 and 69. Across North America, Atlanta, 63 and 50. In Raleigh, 65 and 36. In Miami, 78 and 66. Dallas, Texas, 70 and 58. And Toronto, Canada, 44 and 41. As we go through the weekend early next week, those windy conditions and hazardous marine conditions will continue with a mix of sun and clouds, slight chance of 1 2 showers. Low temperature daytime will be in the upper 80s, lower 80s, upper 70s and lower 80s at daytime, and the upper 60s and lower 70s at nighttime. That puts a wrap on your first look at weather at sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Phil.
Thank you very much, Godfrey. Of course, today is the day 53 years ago, 1967, ushered in a new era of equality, civil rights, and democracy in the country. We better know it as Majority Rule Day. We have the man himself, Dr. Chris Curry. Welcome back, man. I don't even think I saw you last year. I didn't get the interview last year on the show.
I don't think so, yeah, but it's good to be back.
Good to be back.
Definitely.
Good to be back. So here we are once again talking about the important things, in the history of our country. And some might say that this might have been one of the most significant ones, if not the most significant one. But let's speak a little bit about, tell us how we got to that point 53 years ago. What was the international climate? We talked about decolonization.
Yeah.
A lot of things were happening. Civil rights movement.
Right. Yeah, a lot of people look at majority rule as sort of a localized event, but truly it was a watershed moment in our country's history, and it certainly was an event that had international magnitude. I always talk about the long journey to majority rule, starting from Pompeii to Pindling. And the reason I do that is because I want people to understand that majority rule comes about because the freedom and rights, civil rights that we should have been accorded to the formerly enslaved in 1834, 1838 was not achieved. And so you might have been free after 1838, but you didn't have equality. You didn't have rights. Right. And so that pushed the desire and the agenda further to another century. And so one could think about majority rule as a journey rather than a singular event. And this journey is a journey of self-actualization. It's a journey where people become more politically aware, and they're mobilizing now in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s towards a particular end, that is to have fair elections, to have a more democratic society, and to do away with the racism which was rampant in the Bahamas at the time. And so you have an amazing wave of momentum, a political awakening, as Nona Martin and Virgil Storr mentioned in their article, Eyes of Man, that this political awakening leads people to make demands on the system. And so the system is a colonial system on the one hand, and then you see it across the Caribbean and in Africa, that people want to throw the shackles of completely off. And so the Bahamas is caught up in that wave. And in the Caribbean, Jamaica achieved independence in 62. Majority rule in 67 allows us then to push towards independence.
How much of that was influenced by what was happening in the United States?
Well, there's a parallel process here. So in the United States, you have a civil rights movement starting as early as 1954 with the overturning of Plessy versus Ferguson, and then the desegregation of schools, and then, of course, Rosa Parks and the bus boycotts, and then Martin Luther King and others leading the way towards a Civil Rights Act passed in 63. Martin Luther King visited the Bahamas. He had relationships with our leaders of our movement. For example, Randall Fox and him had a very close relationship. They wrote each other. And we even have a letter that I've read from Martin Luther King congratulating Randall Fox for the work that he had been doing. And this was written in 1958. So, and that was, of course, the time of the general strike. So what we're seeing is, and a lot of people think, well, the civil rights movement influenced the Quiet Revolution in the Bahamas and the push towards majority rule. I like to think that there was a symbiotic relationship where you had our movement influencing the U.S. as much as the U.S.'s movement influencing ours.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. I mean, you mentioned it just now, the impact that the majority rule had towards our path. I mean, why was this such a watershed moment in our history?
Well, I think, first of all, you had a minority rule. It wasn't just a minority rule. It was the white oligarchs or Bay Street boys who control the social, economic, and political spheres of Bahamian society. And they passed laws that benefited their family and their own kind, so to speak. And so you had an entire population, the underbelly of Bahamian society per se, that were locked out and prevented from basic rights that you would think all citizens should have. And so part of the overthrowing of this system was establishing a more democratic society in which you were being judged not on the color of your skin, but on the content of your character, society in which you have aspirational goals that you could see a better society, where you had access to education, you had access to healthcare, you had access to social services, things that were denied to you in a previous dispensation. So majority rule is in many ways the aspirational goals of a people trying to achieve something noble and a more democratic society.
Do you think we've accomplished?
We've accomplished some, but again, if we think of majority rule as a journey rather than an event, then you understand that you can't stop the journey, right? There's still things to be done. We still have to work towards gender equality. We still have to have a more serious look at disabilities. People with disabilities are still challenged. We have to look at equitable work force and employment acts and labor. And then the other thing that is a challenge is the archipelagic nature of our country. We have scales of development that are not equal. Like if you go to Ragged Island or Mayaguana, are you getting the same access to education, resources and otherwise? What about access to health care and social services in Ragged Island or Mayaguana? So because of our islands being so sparsely populated and because of the developmental issues, I would say the challenge to see majority rule actualized at this juncture in our time is to see equal development and equality and equity across the country.
And that's not, I mean, you know, when we think about it, it's not just a political, it wasn't just a political, I mean, obviously it related to the people, populace. But in the purest definition of politics, maybe. But in terms of, you know, the political way that we have defined majority rule, it's not defined singularly by the political system.
Right, but political. What is political is also personal.
Correct.
And so people in that generation, they were fighting for a cause. They were fighting for freedom. They were fighting for a more democratic society. And then also they were fighting corruption because the UBP and the oligarchs at the time were you know, they were doing things to try and favor their own group. And the best example of that is when you saw the way in which they manipulated the electoral system to their favor. You know, you had 2 and 3 seat constituencies in the Family Islands where only 30 to 25% of the population lived, but in New Providence, for example, in '62, you only had 7 constituencies. So that's a problem.
It's interesting, you know, and I know it's not directly related to the topic, but you know, when we talk about the Westminster system of governance, and maybe this is a topic for another time, but do you see the evolution or we've been, you know, flirting with this whole idea of the republic.
Yes.
Do you see that as being something that might be necessary for us to really attain the true essence of what majority rule should become?
One of the legacies, I think, of colonialism is this very strong centralized government. And centralized governments work well, I think, in some areas. But in an archipelagic nation where you have far-flung islands that don't really feel the arm of the central government, there's a need for reform. And a Republican model might do that in the sense that if you have an elected Senate, for example, you could have representation at that level in the upper house from each island, and then the representation by population could be in the lower house where you have representatives based on the size of the constituency, and so obviously you would have more representation probably from New Providence in the lower house. So I think the way the House of the Congress and the Senate in the U.S. is configured in that sort of model might work in the Bahamas, and it would move us mechanically away from a centralized system.
Thank you. Listen, Freedom and Resistance.
Yes, this is my newest book. It's actually a social history of black loyalists in the Bahamas, and it's for sale in most bookstores, particularly Logos. I noticed they do have it there. And this was written out of my dissertation that I did at the University of Connecticut. And it's a pretty cool book, I think.
Well, listen, you're a pretty cool guy. Thank you so much. Looking forward to reading it. All right, we've been with Dr. Chris Curry. Always welcome you on Bahamas Sunrise.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Good afternoon. First response. How can I help you?
I've been in an accident on West Bay Street. Can you send someone to help?
Yes, ma'am. A first response team will be there in 15 minutes. Are you hurt?
No, I'm fine, but a bit upset.
We're glad you're not hurt. Please, try to relax. Our team will take care of everything as soon as they arrive.
First Response provides immediate on-site service and support from the scene of an accident through the claims and repair process. And it's free to all Bahamas First insured drivers in New Providence every day for any type of accident. If you drive and want first response on your side, call 32-FIRST or visit bahamasfirst.com for the name of an authorized Bahamas First agent. First response can't prevent an accident from happening,
But it can certainly ease your mind when it happens.
Why should you get Trio from Rev this Christmas? Cue the music. In addition to TV and internet, you get unlimited local calls, unlimited international calls, and a free virtual number, plus tons of free features. And you get Rev Go Voice for free. Also, if you get Trio now, you get entered automatically into a $250,000 cashback Christmas. That's 250 customers with a chance at $250,000. Just call 601-8992 or email us at trio@cablebahamas.com. Rev, you and us together.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise on this Majority Rule Day. Well, we're about to have a very important conversation, so I'm really going to ask you to call all the women in your life, send them a message, let them know that we are on. We're having a really important conversation on cervical cancer, and I'm very happy to welcome Dr. Nina Sanders-Graham. She's an OBGYN specialist, surgical suite and family medical center, and of course, January is Cervical Cancer Awareness Month. She and I were talking off air, and what we're about to share with you is so critically important. So please get all the women up, tell them to come and watch this important section on Bahamas at Sunrise. Good morning, Dr. Graham, and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you with us today because this is really a serious issue and one that has not been, I think, brought to the fore as much as it ought to be, given the fact that it can be devastating to those women that do contract cervical cancer. So kind of talk to me about the importance of just cervical health awareness generally.
Okay, well, first of all, cervical cancer is a huge economic burden for the Bahamas and for the Caribbean at large. And it is important for women to understand that it's a preventable condition.
Okay.
It's one of the very few female cancers and cancer generally with women that is preventable.
Okay.
Ovarian, it's difficult to, they don't have the screening that cervix has.
Okay.
And so all you have to do is do your pap smear.
Okay.
And be regular with your pap smear.
Okay.
And that will reduce the burden significantly. I often see women either in my practice or at the hospital. And I normally, that's my first question, not just for just a normal gynae visit. When was your last pap smear?
Right.
And a lot of them, the answer is not since my last child.
Wow.
And so I'm hoping, okay, that's within the last year, maybe within the last 2 years. And in most cases, it's a lot of times it's over 5 years. The worst case scenario I've heard was 30 years.
Wow, 30 years and no pap smear.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, let's talk about this because, I mean, obviously, if something is preventable, we should be taking the best course of action we can to make sure that we don't have to deal with the burden. So we talk about economics, and you and I were talking off there about the fact that radiation treatment for an advanced stage of cervical cancer can cost you up to $20,000, but a pap smear annually at a private clinic can be as low as $50.
Yes.
So, you know, I I think about that, and $50 to $20,000 is a huge difference.
Yes.
I know that some people will say some people just don't have the money, and I can receive that. I mean, I think that a lot of times we find money for what we want, but is this even a service that's available, getting your pap smear done at the government clinic?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. You pay, I think, $15.
Okay.
Bahamians, and I think foreign nationals pay a bit more.
Okay.
But it's like between $15 and $20.
Yeah, to save your life.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so when should women start doing pap smears?
At 21, according to ACAR guidelines.
Okay.
But they're just their guidelines, so we start at 21.
Okay.
And before, they used to say when you first had sexual intercourse.
Okay.
But now if you look at it, a lot of persons will be diagnosed with HPV, and then you're going to overtreat the young people.
Okay.
Right? So they have now moved it to 21 years.
Okay.
And then you can stop at 65 years, providing that you have had normal pap smears.
All along.
At least within the last 5 years. Yes.
And so, should we be doing the pap smear every year, the same way we go and get our breast checked?
Well, according to guidelines that are put out from the States, they do it every 3 years.
Okay.
In the Bahamas, in the States, you have good proper recall system and that type of thing.
Right.
But here, anytime I get a chance,
Okay.
I do it. At least it's once a year. Worst case scenario, 3 years or every other year, but as often as you can.
Okay.
Once a year at least.
Now, cervical cancer, is it always caused by the HPV virus?
In most cases, in 90% of cases, it's caused by the virus. But in a very small percentage, it is caused by, it can be familial.
Okay.
For back in the day, they used to use a drug to prevent preterm labor.
Okay.
That's another cause called DES.
Okay.
So women who use DES while pregnant would have transferred it and that's a different type of cervix cancer.
Okay.
So it's different types.
Different types of cancer. Now, in terms of the HPV virus, is there anything one can do to prevent oneself from getting that virus?
Okay, the human papilloma virus is a sexually transmitted disease.
Okay.
Just like gonorrhea, chlamydia, all of them.
Okay.
And so you prevent it just like you would. Wear condoms, abstinence.
Okay.
What they do now is they try to give the vaccine to the children in the schools to prevent, before they become sexually active, to prevent it. So that's a way they're also trying to eradicate cervical cancer.
And are we able to get that vaccine here in the Bahamas as well?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Yes.
Excellent.
It's actually they give it in the school for the kids.
Okay.
And you can either get it at your private office, you can get it at the government clinic. I think it's mainly at South Beach.
Okay.
Yes.
So any final words you want to leave with us? Because you and I were speaking off air. We've seen women die from this disease, some of them as young as 45, even younger in some cases, leaving behind kids, leaving behind family, really in the prime of their lives. And had they just had the pap smears leading up to this, it could have been prevented. So what are just some final words you really want to leave with the Bahamian women in particular about the importance of just getting pre-screening done?
Well, the fact is they have screening is important. All right, so you have to get your pap smear either every year, every other year. And that is the most important thing, because you can pick up precancerous lesions and you can treat.
Okay.
All right? So it's very important to just get your pap smears.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning, Dr. Graham. Really an important conversation. And one I think I'll continue to have here on the show and with other women, just to encourage them, because this is really something that's preventable. And we thank you for the work that you're doing to really try to help women to see that.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
Incubus is a shared workspace company that provides services for professionals, freelancers, anybody that's in need of a turnkey solution for a private office space, a conference room rental, or part-time office space service. One of our main services that we provide to our members is high-speed internet access. There can be up to about 50 members within our space utilizing the internet and the Rare Voice services. And Rare has done an excellent job of dedicated, reliable, high-speed internet service.
We get up early every morning to offer safe and dependable service. Where quality service is paramount. An excellent travel experience is priority. Connecting the islands of the Bahamas to the world. Bahamas Air. We don't just fly here, we live here.
Make a New Year's resolution to invest in yourself. Bahamas Business Outlook, January 16th, 2020. Register today, www.tclevents.com.
Welcome back to the show. Did you know that 1 out of every 10 hospital patients will need blood, whether it's for an accident, trauma, surgery, burns, or even a mother delivering a baby? January happens to be National Blood Donor Month, and of course, this man, no stranger to us, but he's here to talk donations to he's the founder of the Friends of the Blood Bank. Basil, Chris, you've been doing it since 1967. Of course, this association is about 3 or 4 years old. Welcome back to the show. Good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to be back here. I'm always happy to talk about blood donations.
I know you've been so passionate about this from, founding this 4 years ago, but of course, being a donor since 67. That's a long
I've been a
time.
donor over 50 years.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to say that I don't think I've had a cold or flu in 50 years.
Wow.
I'm going to tell you why. I give blood every 8 weeks. So every 8 weeks I get fresh blood.
Fresh blood.
I get all my organs get fresh blood. So in addition to blood donors helping to save lives, they themselves benefit.
Wow.
It minimizes your risk of heart attack, or getting cancer. It regulates your blood pressure and your iron and whatnot. So you're a healthier person by donating blood. And you can give every 8 weeks.
Yeah. So I mean, over 50 years, that's a long time. But this association is relatively new. What led you to kind of form this?
Well, the thing is, I've been giving blood for a long time. And I always encourage people to give blood. They say, parking at the blood bank, and it ain't pleasant there.
Okay.
So what this foundation intends to do is to encourage companies to host blood drives on the premises.
Okay.
Like we go to Central Bank, J.S. Johnson, the insurance companies, and the Rotary clubs, service clubs, the Masons, the fraternities, they all host blood drives. Now sometimes they host it at their home base or in the mall, public places. Now, like this Saturday, the Rotary Club of Southeast Nassau, they're hosting a blood drive in the mall.
In the mall, okay.
They host. Now, they come through this foundation, Friends of the Blood Bank Foundation, and we are in touch with the blood bank. So we take the beds and all the supplies and everything there. So all of the hosts, all that the hosts have to do is to show up. Yeah, and encourage, they help promote. But we also engage in the promotion as well.
Right.
So this year particularly, we want to encourage fraternities, service clubs, all companies.
Businesses, whoever.
Yeah.
Right.
Like we go to Central Bank, we go to Securities Commission, we go to Bahamas Food Services, we go to the hotels, and we even go to Exuma, Abaco, different islands as well. We talk about beds and send them there.
What about the person giving the blood? Is the process something, a preparation that happens before, or you just...
All they have to do is make sure they have breakfast. Make sure they have something to eat. But baby's scared of needle, man. People are scared to give blood.
Yeah, because of that.
But know what happens, like when a relative needs blood, the family calls around and they show up then. But other than that, to volunteer to donate blood, that's a challenge. So this is what this foundation attempts to do, to promote blood donations.
Anybody can give blood? I mean...
Yes. You have to be 17 or older. If you're 17, you need your parental consent. But if you're a healthy person, now if people come and say, man, I was drinking last night. That's okay. You keep your alcohol, we just need the blood. So the fact is you drink or whatever. If you're not on some serious drugs or serious medication and you're healthy, you can give blood. So we encourage people to come out and give blood, man. Because this, you see, listen, last year, I think the demand for blood was like 6,400. And the blood bank was only able to generate this Princess Margaret Hospital like around 4,200.
Wow.
So people die if we don't get enough blood.
Okay.
And it's so easy to give.
Yeah. How much, so you do it every 8 weeks, personally speaking. Is that the general time frame that somebody who's interested in giving blood should do?
Every 8 weeks.
Every 8 weeks.
Or every 2 months, or 2, 3, or 4 times a year. We encourage people to become a regular donor. When you walk out there,
feeling?
Like, you're healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, ain't nothing to it.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing to it.
People generally think that when you're losing blood, you're dying.
No,
but that's not the case.
But new blood is generated, and you're healthier for it.
So how do people get in contact with the friends?
Well, if you want to organize a blood drive at Central Bank or Bahamas Forest, wherever, just go to Blood Bank.
Okay.
And they'll put them in touch with me, and we'll arrange it.
Okay.
So companies and groups, they host, and the foundation arranges everything. And the blood bank, we come at everything.
Okay, good.
We come with the beds and the needles and everything.
All right. Good. Well, I love this passion, but I tell you, 4 years ago when you came on, you had that same type of drive and same type of passion. Good to see you again. There's an event this Saturday at the Mall Marathon that you guys will be a part of.
Yes, this Saturday, the Mall Marathon, yeah.
Okay.
But we like to thank our partner is Alive and the Tribune.
Okay. All right.
We always say the Tribune, man.
Yeah, good. Excellent.
It's free ad they give us promoting blood donations.
All right, good. Basil Christie, founder, Friends of
the Blood Bank.
The Blood Bank. Thank you so much, sir.
Man, thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. He's got someplace to go. We'll be right back.
Unwrap holiday joy as Shell lights up Christmas with $50,000 in prizes just for you. Win a brand new 2020 Hyundai i20 Active, thousands of dollars in John Bull and Kelly's gift certificates, along with the latest Apple electronics. From now through January 24, 2020, purchase a minimum of $20 in fuel from your favorite Shell location in New Providence and enter to win. Visit our Sun Oil Limited Facebook page for weekly giveaways as Shell lights up Christmas. Terms and conditions apply.
Business in the Box is your solution for business from Cable Bahamas. It's an internet, voice, mobile, and advertising solution all in one place. Get reliable internet, free domestic call, and a live corporate package, and free TV ad placement, all starting with packages as low as $164 a month. You can save over $3,000 a year. Just call 601-8911. That's 601-8911. And ask for Business in a Box from Cable Bahamas Business Solutions. Terms and conditions apply.
Comfort Suites Paradise Island is the best kept secret in the Bahamas. Located directly next door to the Atlantis Resort, you'll receive all the privileges of an Atlantis guest with all the benefits of a Comfort Suite stay. Enjoy everything Atlantis has to offer, including Aquaventure Water Park, plus all the amenities of Comfort Suites. Free Wi-Fi, free breakfast daily, and kids stay, play, and eat free. Visit ComfortSuitesPI.com.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. We're at the halfway point on this fabulous Friday, and it's been an interesting morning so far.
Very interesting. Always loving the conversations with Dr. Chris Curry. Obviously, he's passionate about it. He's a real true Bahamian, and his research is impeccable.
Yeah,
we got to get that book, actually.
Yeah, I'm always jealous when Sue, our producer, good morning, Sue, gives you those segments. But I think she tries to split them. I think I got to speak with him last time. So,
yes, you did.
So she gave you him this morning. But Dr. Curry knows that, I always feel some type of way
I know.
when I don't get to do the interview. But no, I had a great conversation this morning, actually, with Dr. Nina Sanders-Graham, and we were talking about cervical cancer in women. And I think we've gotten the message out to women in particular about breast cancer, but cervical cancer, the risk of not surviving is so much higher when it's diagnosed later.
Wow.
And when women don't go and get their pap smears, they really put themselves at risk. So she's actually having a pap party, that's what she calls it, on January 25th, right there at her offices at the Surgical Suite and Family Medical Center.
I've never heard those two words together.
A pap party, no, and it's a pap party because it's actually going to be a free pap smear that she gives you. Yeah. And then they've got a discounted rate at the lab, so you only pay $35 for the test. But it really is a great opportunity to go out on that day. Please give them a call down there at the Surgical Suite and Family Medicine Center just to make sure that you're getting tested.
Absolutely. And of course, Friends of the Blood Bank, Basil Christie, he's a character, isn't he?
Always. Christie's always been a character. But indeed, they've been really helpful in the past. And I remember, and a friend of mine really was in desperate need of blood last year, and the calls that we had to make, and people came out in droves. But if we had on hand, that it might not have been.
Shouldn't wait until there's an emergency. Should actually always kind of do it.
Yeah. But we got more to come in the second half. Going to have a great conversation with Ruby Ann Darling. She, of course, would have been the first woman to vote, and we're going to be talking to her about what she's seen in the year since majority rule. So looking forward to that conversation.
Yeah, and talking a little bit of insurance. Of course, we've been kind of putting all of the New Year's types of goals and aspirations to you over the last 2 shows, and moving into the insurance hour. So we've got Dashwell Flowers from BAF here as well.
Yeah, so we'll learn more about that. Before we get to any of that, we're going to take a second look at weather with Godfrey Burnside.
Weather at sunrise. Brought to you by Bahamas First. First in insurance. Today, tomorrow.
Thank you, Star, and good morning, Bahamas. And yes, I can look at weather sunrise. To the north of us, we have a strong high-pressure system, and that's generating some real strong winds across the islands, even up to gale force winds, and that will continue through the weekend, and that's making way for some real hazardous marine conditions. And we do have a special marine warning for swimmers who should exercise extreme caution for the high risk of recurrence. Small craft operators should remain in port over the weekend. Motorists and pedestrians along coastal roads, especially the Fishing Hole Road in Grand Bahama, Glass Window Bridge in Eleuthera, should exercise extreme caution over the weekend because of those strong gusty winds up to gale force and dangerous waves that will batter the coastal region. In your marine forecast today, those winds east at 20 to 30 knots, seas 8 to 12 feet. On Saturday, they continue east to southeast at 20 to 30 knots, seas 8 to 12 feet in the northwest Bahamas, east to the 20 to 30 knots, seas 8 to 12 feet over the central and southeastern islands. On Sunday, they come down a bit, east to southeast at 15 to 25 knots, seas 6 to 9 feet in the northwest Bahamas, continuing east to 20 to 25 knots, seas 7 to 10 feet over the central and southeastern islands. Your tides. You can expect a high tide of 7:11 this morning, next low tide at 1:41 this afternoon, high gain this evening at 7:28. Sunset at 5:38 this evening, rises tomorrow morning at 6:57. UV index 7, your water temperature 74 degrees Fahrenheit, and the moon phase full moon. Through the weekend, those windy conditions will continue with some mild temperatures, slight chance of a shower. Those temperatures daytime will be in the upper 70s to lower east at daytime, and the upper 60s to lower 70s at nighttime. That puts you on your phone. Look at weather at sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Star.
Thank you so much, Godfrey. Well, she holds the honor of being the first woman in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas to register to vote and the second woman elected to Parliament. And today she's here to discuss majority rule, just how far we've come in 53 years. She's Ruby Ann Cooper Darling, a former senator and well-known political activist. Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning to you, and thank you so much for having me here.
It's a pleasure to have this opportunity to interview you. Certainly a woman that we've seen in our history books and one that we know well for taking the stand to want to vote and to be registered first as a woman to do so. What was that day like back in 1967 when a majority rule was finally achieved?
Well, it was a day of, let me use the word bliss.
Okay.
It was like we're just out of the Advent season, and there's a hymn that says, "Come thou long expected Jesus." Yes. And I think we can use that as a backdrop to the expectation that was within the hearts of the people as they came into majority rule. Let's see, the journey. There was no plan for us to get majority rule. Remember, we were uprooted from our original place, Africa, and brought to these places. Right. So the journey was one that there was no path in it for us to improve ourselves, but to become indentured slaves and to be subservient and to be bowing down to our masters. So there was no plan for us in that when we were 14, we had to leave school. We were only drawers of water and hewers of wood and all like that. But deep within the hearts, like the song says, the higher you build my barriers, the stronger I became. And so the inner man within the hearts of our people. And because they continually pray to God for the day to come when they would move from where they were and to come into being masters of their own fate and situations. We had no guns, we had no violence. It was peace, it was perfect peace.
Wow.
And coming into January the 10th, a date that we didn't set, you know.
Yeah.
We did not set that date. The masters that be. Our masters said that, but little did they know that divinity was in the date of January the 10th, because the Passover is on the 10th day of the first month. So, you know, God, when God is in the equation, it has to work out.
Excellent, excellent.
Yes.
So certainly this concept of blessing, just hearing you talk, and we see so much of the history that you talked about in the past leading up to this moment, when we had this divine appointment to take our own self-rule. You look at where we've come since then, 53 years later. Are you happy? Are you pleased with what we've done, with the opportunity we've been given to democratize our society and the opportunity, as you call it, to govern our own faith? Are you happy and proud of what we've achieved?
Well, let's look at it. We were British subjects. And so while we did not get opportunities, there was training. We were able to look at things and then to go and pattern and do likewise. And so you have, we started out where the foundation was laid. Some people say, well, why are you affiliated with a certain party? And I said, it's not because of convenience. I'm not with a party because of what I can get from the party. I'm affiliated with a party because of conviction. It was born out of the hurt and the prayers of the people. And so we look at 1967, and we look at 2002, where we are. And of course, in the middle is the dash, like the date of your birth, and then the date. And I look, and surely there were accomplishments that we started out. I went down to National Insurance just 2 days ago. And in a jiffy, a lady was able to give me the printout of all. And I said, you know something, the IRS has nothing on NIB. They are so up to date, they are so savvy with their operation there, that I was proud. I said, wow. I said, yes, we have accomplished many things. Education, health, attainment, positions, Bahamians have risen to the highest positions. I said, you name it. We have Mozarts among us. We have Rembrandts among us. We have Christopher Ransom. Hey, we have it all as a people. We are truly blessed. But somewhere, since we haven't reached heaven yet to perfection, there have been flaws, some of them serious flaws along the way. Like we were once a people who were brothers keepers. We were kind, but now we are brothers killers. We were a people that were kind and loving, and now if you look among us, it's hate hysteria. People are hateful because why? You don't look like me, you don't dress like me, you don't go to the same church I go to, you don't go to the same party. And what saddens me is that we are beginning, polarization has so gripped us that we are losing what we had, love, decency, dignity, decorum, how to behave. We were, mind you, when we were British subjects, we had to toe the line. But now, freedom, freedom is good. And like my late father said, light is good, but too much light will blind you. And I think in many instances in this country, because we were able to govern ourselves, we have too much light, and so blindness, myopia, has sort of gripped us. But I see the best is yet to come. I see a people turning to the God that they once knew, that brought them from where they were to where they are. And I'm praying for all the best for our country. And this is indeed a historic, momentous day.
It certainly is, and I think it's one that we're now appropriately honoring by celebrating it as a national holiday and reminding people from whence we've come, and then of course encouraging us to move forward with where we've got to go. When you look at the young women in our country and you think about the fight that you and those of the feminist movement of our times really had to push for in order to get women the right to vote, and of course women playing an integral part in seeing that majority rule come to pass, what would you say to the young women of today who are a little less concerned about the political sphere and about taking active stances in the country? How would you encourage them?
Well, it seems as if in many, many cases, as I would drive through the streets, and particularly I love driving through the inner city. I take that for my shortcuts. And as I would interact with the ladies and stop and give them words of encouragement, I think that there needs to be an arousal of the consciousness of what to be female, femininity, to be poised and to be dignified. You don't have much, but then you have your character that you can, so that it becomes a lifestyle for you. In many cases, because of the lack of hope. Hopelessness, it seems, that has gripped many of our young women. And I think we who are the elder women and those who know better should make it an effort to take time out to interact with these and to show them better. And many times I come and I see the girls and they're improperly dressed, and I put on the side, I say, come in. I say, look, you don't have to come out like that. God can bless you. You don't have to do that to yourself. And many times they be pulling down and they look at me and they don't go, they say, ma'am, thanks so much. Yeah. Say thanks. Because let us take time to share with our unfortunate brothers and sisters more than look down on them and downgrade them. Let's begin to move into people's lives and to speak into people's lives and say, the ladder, the rungs of the ladder, not just for you to stay on the first rung, but each rung would take you higher and higher.
Certainly.
Yes.
Well, it has been a pleasure speaking with you this morning. A great honor of mine to meet you in person and to talk with you about a movement you were so much ingrained with and so much a part of, and of course the freedoms that lends to women and men like myself. So thank you so much for that, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you, and God bless this wonderful Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Amen. Well, we've got more to come. Before we get to any of it, we're going to take a look at our live weekend calendar.
Good morning, Sunrisers. This is your boy Sorry with your live weekend calendar. South Bahamas Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. Let's Move to Live. 5K and 10K Fun Run Walk. Friday, January 10th. Arawak Key, 6 a.m. The Playground Bahamas presents Disney and Friends Family Fun Day. Friday, January 10th. The Playground Bahamas. Gates open at 12 noon. Good Times Happy Hour every Friday. Friday, January 10th. Hillside House Bar, Cumberland Street, downtown Nassau. 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Brunch Sundays with Nishi LS. Sunday, January 12th, Studio Cafe, Compass Point Studios, West Bay Street, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. TCL Group presents the 29th Annual Bahamas Business Outlook 2020 under the theme A New Era of Resilience in the Face of Vulnerability. Opening keynote address by the Right Honorable Dr. Hubert Minnis, Prime Minister, Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Other speakers include Laurie Peters, Franklin Butler II, Crystal Rutherford Ferguson, John Rowe, Frank Camito, Craig Joaquin, Donovan Moxie, Dr. Kenneth Jonathan Rogers, Lisa Harding, Michael Cunningham, Chloe Burke, Dr. Charles Diggers, Krishad Lang, and Arthur Frisk. Thursday, January 16th, Bahama Resort. Registration 8:30 a.m. or register online at tzlevents.com. That's your live weekend calendar. Now, if you have event posted on the calendar, please don't hesitate to email kob@tzlbahamas.com. Alive. Believe in best.
Welcome back to the show. Of course, last week we discussed financial goals here on Bahamas at Sunrise. We could not get out of the month, like our producer just said, without talking insurance goals. And we have the man himself, VP of Sales and Agency Development, BAF Financial, Dashing Joshua Flowers. My brother, listen, man, this is really I tell you, man. Sharp as always.
Thank you very much.
Welcome back, man.
Thank you. It's
Happy
good to
New
be
Year
here.
to you.
Likewise. I trust that you had a great one.
Pretty good. I won't complain about it.
Excellent.
But again, New Year, can you believe it's 2020?
2020.
2020. And
Time flies.
Time flies. So we want to talk a little bit about insurance. And, you were just saying sometimes payments we spend first and try to save later. And insurance sometimes is not even within the realm of the conversation.
It's not Simon and even the top five, actually.
Yeah.
We spend first, save later. I think we have to, and after previous years of experience, we must understand insurance on a want, it's a need. Because at the end of the day, and I always tell people the reason why insurance was created to cover risk. It was created to cover the fact of the breadwinner dying, who was actually taking care of the family, and the family is accustomed to a certain lifestyle. Well, that was some 200 years or more ago why they created insurance. Originally they used to pass the hat around the community, and so whatever they collected, they pay for the funeral and they give the rest to the family.
And they still sometimes do that.
And they still sometimes do that, right? But the need when it was created 200 years ago have not changed. The risk factor of babies born and buying homes, family dying, and there's so many times when you've seen the breadwinner in particular dies, you will see that the whole family lifestyle change. I call it actually, when you're able to obtain insurance and continue the lifestyle you're accustomed to, is called the retention of dignity. Because when the breadwinner dies, the family whole, the dignity of the family vanishes away with them. And Bahamians don't realize and still haven't come to the understanding that insurance is not a want. It's a necessity.
Mitigating risk.
It's a mitigating risk.
What are the different types of insurance that you have?
There are several. We have the saying that if we have insurance if you die too soon, and we have insurance if you live too long. And we're doing the one that lives long, that's a more participating insurance, which actually give you a cash return based on what you invest. So if you get 60 or 65 and you need some monies, or if you need monies throughout the process, you are able to cash in or cash surrender or borrow against your cash value. That's if you can afford it. Now if you need a high coverage or and cannot afford a high premium, then you go to term life, which is called non-participating. So I'm able to give you that $1 million of life insurance with a mere premium of $100 a month, rather than $1 million with $300 a month. So we work around trying to get you to fix a program that you can afford.
But when you start considering insurance, for those types of things, at what age?
I think once you've hit, first of all, I think when you're in high school, your parents should have some kind of coverage on you, whether it's medical or whether it's life, because we live in a very vulnerable world today. Okay, when you hit the job market, you should therefore seek to provide some kind of coverage, because at that point, by called level premium, which it doesn't increase. So if you buy $1 million at age 19 at $55 a month, it is not going to change when you get 40. So it's cheaper for you at a younger age. It's much, much cheaper for you at a younger age. It helps you secure yourself. It helps you make provision. Some of us got goals very early. We decide that once you finish college, we want to buy a home, we want to go into business. While you're young at that age, it's good to purchase that insurance to cover in the event that you need this for the bank, because you will need it for the bank. And it's sad for you, even if you acquire all of these things, have a bank loan, dies on your family, and the bank have to take all of that stuff because there was no money to pay for it.
Should you, so once you get insurance, let's say you get it, after high school, you start work, does that carry out for the next 20, 30 years, or is there a point in time where you update and change the type of insurance?
Well, I would say you update based on your financial situation. The first year of the school, you might find a job that pays you $300 a week. So you purchase something that is affordable to you. Then you would have gone and moved into a higher job, have more money. So then you would try and say, listen, I've secured some more cash. I need to make some better provision in regards to insurance coverage, in regard to annuity, anything of that sort.
And then that actually kind of leads right into the next question about how does insurance fit into the wider goals of estate planning?
Well, I always tell people, first of all, the fact that you can purchase insurance of $500,000, you've actually purchased an estate. In most cases, it takes you time to build that estate. But if you purchase $500,000 of life insurance at $45 a month, you actually create a $500 estate. So if you die, God help you, demise, your family then inherit $500,000. Okay, that's the way. Or again, if you have an estate, you want to secure that estate, because you want to make sure if anything happened to you, the continuity of your estate
It's there.
Yeah.
But you have to secure that in the fact that you can't say I have $200,000 in the bank or $100,000 cash. You die with a bill of $500,000. You die in a deficit.
Gotcha.
Okay, sometimes we get very excited. Oh, I got $100,000 of life insurance. Oh, I don't need this. I don't need that. I've seen situations where persons are nice, healthy, and then something happened and they're hospitalized for 2-3 months before they pass, and they leave a hospital bill of $200,000. The family is struggling to bury them and the rest of it. I don't think we take it as serious as we should. Because a number of times you've seen persons die. You know persons die, and you realize that take 4 weeks later, these persons have not been buried yet.
Right.
Death is something that we cannot avoid. And as much as we hate to talk about it, it's the reality of life.
There's no doubt about it. And this is why you probably need a suite of different insurance services. I mean, speaking about BAF, you guys are celebrating 100 years. It's a very long time.
We are very, very excited about what we're doing this year.
And you have a group, you know, and people think, I mean, it's come a long way from the British American days.
Yeah, it's been through many changes. My CEO always say we've served several generations. We want to be around to serve several more. We've been here for quite some time. Like I said to you earlier, we have over 400 persons employed with us. We throughout the Caribbean, especially. We are in the Bahamas, Cayman Islands, Turks and Caicos, and we've been around. We've got a year of activities and events for our customers and our employees. So we got to have a grand old time.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And you guys aren't hard to find, but for persons who may not know where to find you, what's the easiest way?
Well, next week's Friday, the 17th of January, we are going to have a customer service day. So we're going to complete the parking lot, have popcorns, all of the other goodies for the evening, start from 1 to 6. So any customer in the area comes today, can stop by, have a drink with us, have something to eat with us, and talk to us and ask us anything they want to know about the company.
Excellent. Of course, you can be found on social media.
And we are at Independence Drive, Blue Hill Road.
All right. Love those commercials, man. Keep them coming.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Well, thank you so much. He's the VP of Sales and Agency Development, BAF Financial, a part of the BAF Group.
Absolutely.
All right, great. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
Alive. Believe in best.
A new era is coming. January 16th, 2020. Bahamas Business Outlook. A new era. Resilience in the face of vulnerability. Register today. www.tclevents.com. Don't miss it.
Well, that's going to do it for us, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We hope that you enjoyed the show as we celebrate Majority Rule.
Absolutely, and we encourage you to have a warm weekend. Of course, next week is Bahamas Business Outlook. I forgot which number it is.
Don't look to me, Phil. I got nothing.
But it's the 16th of January. If you haven't registered, please contact the consulate.
Yeah, please do. The conversation and topics look really interesting.
I do.
They're really good.
I like them this year.
And so it's always a great opportunity to just learn about all the things going on in our country, and then a wonderful opportunity, of course, to network, and it's followed by a networking mixer and party. So please get registered for Bahamas Business Outlook. We'll be back with more Bahamas at Sunrise on Monday.
Stay warm.
Bye.